I was in a discussion today with a brother about gas prices of all things. And for the most part, we agreed that, it was a problem. It affected people negatively. Something needed to be done. And all of the common gripes about anything that goes up in price to the common person. But then we reached a point of opposition because I believe that when people spend more than others and aren't capable of withstanding that inflation, that it negatively affects them in a way that is not fully understood by those who it doesn't, or who can withstand. And so we became oppositional in that, because his analogy was that he could use other aspects of the world and its plight in comparison to other situations, and that would suffice in understanding. And on surface, it may appear to be so. Um, but I believe that when a human being does something that he or she does not want to do, or that is not enjoyable, it affects them in a way that cannot be understood by someone who does the same thing but is not affected negatively, or is not affected to the point where it's unenjoyable. So, we both expressed our points, and made our arguments, and we moved forward, of course, and we left each other, and in all goodness and love, because I definitely appreciate those interactions. But once I reached home, I began to ponder, like, what is the reason we couldn't agree? What is the reason that we saw this thing so differently and so passionately different? And so as I pondered that, I asked myself, well, did we look at it from different places? And if we did, what were those two different places that we looked at it? And what came to me was that we both were looking at the same thing, but I believe that the brother was looking at it from a mental perspective, and I was looking at it from a psychological perspective. Um, he didn't say that, but it's the conclusion that I gathered after, you know, pondering and mulling over our conversation and our dialogue and our interaction. So um, to kind of delve or dive into my theory, I looked up what is the difference, or why is there a difference between the mental and the psychological, or if there's a difference between the mental and psychological. And I found that there are, for the most part, differences between the two. So, what I have is that overall, those who study or have studied these two subjects have agreed that mental health and psychological health are terms that are often interchangeable, but they represent distinct dimensions of our well-being. And that understanding their nuances and differences is crucial for anyone striving to maintain a wholesome and balanced life. So understanding their nuances and differences is what we need to kind of use as that tool in deciding upon subjects that both kind of overlap. I went on to understand that at a glance, mental health encompasses the vast landscape of our emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. It's about how we perceive the world, process information, and handle life challenges. On the other hand, the psychological health or things that we look at, study, or affect us takes a more academic approach. It dives into the study of the mind and its intricate workings. It's a field of science that seeks to unravel the mysteries of cognition, emotion, and behavior, offering insights into what makes us who we are. So in short, when dealing with something mentally, we're dealing with emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. But when we're dealing with things psychologically, we're dealing with our identity and how we think, how we emote our feelings, and how we behave. So the psychology or the psychological aspect of our being supersedes the mental, if I'm understanding these definitions correctly or in the ballpark. And then our mental is the act that produces what our psychology seeds or structures.